Now, the CDFA recently released guidance concerning the industrial hemp market in California, and quite frankly, there's been a lot of confusion surrounding the regulations around this particular plant. So, in this video, I will break down the state's policy regarding hemp, as well as give you some insider considerations for entering this new market successfully. But before I do, I need to let you know that the information contained in this video is meant for guidance purposes only, and not as professional legal or tax advice. And further, it does not give any personalized legal, tax, investment, or any business advice in general. So with that out of the way, let's hop right in. To start, what is the difference between hemp and cannabis? Well, cannabis is a family of plants with two classifications, indica and sativa. Now first, hemp is a member of the cannabis sativa family, and as a result, hemp contains very, very low concentrations of THC. Now marijuana, on the other hand, which is considered a member of either the indica or sativa families, has concentrations of THC between 8 and 40%. So, THC is the big difference between these two varieties of the same plant. And the state of California has a very specific definition as what qualifies as hemp versus cannabis. So, according to the California Department of Food and Agriculture, or the CDFA for short, industrial hemp means a crop that is limited to the types of the plant Cannabis sativa L, having no more than 3/8 of 1% of THC contained in either the dried flowering tops, whether growing or not, the seed of the plant, the resin extracted from any part of the plant, and every compound, manufacturer, salt, derivative, mixture, or preparation of the plant, seeds, or its resin produced therefrom. So that's your specific definition of what hemp is. So why should you start a hemp farm? Well, unlike cannabis, which is still classified as a federal Schedule I controlled substance and subject to 280E regulation, hemp is not federally regulated in this way. So the Agricultural Improvement Act of 2018 went into effect at the beginning of this year, 2019, which removed hemp from the list of federally controlled substances. So this is a new market that isn't subject to the same strict financial and tax codes of the cannabis market, which gives way to never before seen business opportunities. So it could be a great idea for you to get started. Now, simultaneously, in September 2018, Governor Jerry Brown signed and approved Senate Bill 1409, which permits the cultivation of industrial hemp by California growers. And before this bill was actually signed into law, only growers who qualified under the state's pilot program and the Agricultural Act of 2014 could actually cultivate industrial hemp. So it was very regulated until the beginning of this year. And as you know, the cannabis market is a tightly regulated and highly competitive space. It's got its licensing limits and zoning restrictions, which make it expensive and difficult for new entrants to gain any traction in this billion-dollar market. Industrial hemp, however, presents an alternative opportunity for cultivators to participate in the cannabis market without many of the high legal barriers or costly barriers to entry for you to get started in the market. The previous 2014 Farm Bill does not permit the cultivation of hemp for purely commercial reasons. However, the 2018 Farm Bill deregulates commercial hemp, provided that states submit hemp production plans to the USDA. So, in theory, California's state plan must be reviewed and approved by the USDA, which would impact hemp cultivators down the road as they get started. Now, in the meantime, California is, forward thinking, and they've begun to process and accept hemp cultivation registration applications to get the ball rolling, and we'll go with it as we approach these roadblocks. So that's great on the state of California that they got the ball rolling. Your next question is probably, well, how do I register as a hemp farmer in California? Well, if you wish to become a grower of industrial hemp, the first step is to be approved by the county agricultural commissioner, where you're actually going to be having your farm at. So you can find your county ag commissioner's office on this map that's on your screen right now, which is provided by the CDFA, and you can also find this on their website. Unlike the commercial cannabis market, there is no registration required to grow industrial hemp. So prospective growers only need to complete a county registration to grow industrial hemp. And applications for both seed breeders and growers can be found on the CDFA Industrial Hemp Program website, which is on your screen right now. The registration fee is $900 and registration is valid for 1 year. Applications for commercial cultivation and seed breeding don't vary dramatically. Generally speaking, you'll be asked to provide the basic information about the business owner, the cultivation site, your business plan, the GPS coordinates of the site, and other basic information. And some counties aren't even accepting hemp applications, and some of those counties include Glenn, Humboldt, Mariposa, Mendocino, Monterey, Napa, Orange, Sacramento, San Bernardino, Santa Barbara, Sonoma, and many, many other counties. So just check with your county ag commissioner and see if they actually are accepting applications in your area. So what's the difference between hemp seed breeders versus cultivators? Well, currently there are two potential ways to participate in California's hemp market: as a seed breeder or as a hemp cultivator. Now the CDFA has made it really easy for you to get registered. So if you plan to cultivate hemp for commercial purposes, you should fill out the application for growers. Now, if you plan alternatively to cultivate industrial hemp for seed development or production, you should complete the application for breeders. And if you wish to do both, then fill out both applications. Not too hard, right? Really easy. Just fill out the app and see where it takes you. Now, in the second part of this video, I will outline details about the importation and movement of industrial hemp, the details on manufacturing, processing, and selling of industrial hemp, and tips on how to establish your hemp business and actually get started in this market successfully. First, let's cover the hemp importation guidelines of the CDFA. Now, obviously, the first step in starting a hemp farm after actually getting registered with the CDFA is to get some hemp seeds to actually start your crop. And remember, there are some conflicting laws at the federal level in regards to the legality of growing hemp. And this makes it nearly impossible to import seeds from outside of the US to the state of California per federal regulations from the USDA. However, California state law does not have any restrictions to the importation of industrial hemp seeds or plants from other states into the state of California. Now, I know this puts you into a tight spot in a gray area, and this is where having a good lawyer or someone who actually has been in the business to guide you through what to actually do. Now, cultivation on the ag side isn't our expertise area at all, but I did some quick research and found a few potential suppliers for seeds that are within the USA, and you can start talks with these vendors regarding seeds as you start this process in your business, all right? Now, further, you should know that the CDFA requires that all industrial hemp seeds and plants pass plant pest quarantines, and they must inspect your hemp seeds at any discretion that they want. They can really do whatever they want to do, so just be ready to open up the kimono and show what you're working with and how you're actually starting your farm. Now, likewise, the California Food and Agriculture Code requires that registered growers and seed breeders only grow hemp varieties from an approved list of seed cultivars, which you can find on their website. And of course, this regulation doesn't apply to seed breeders developing new seed cultivars. So how do you get started with selling hemp in the state of California? Well, it's possible to sell hemp through the California Farmers Market program, but you first must be certified as a producer through the CDFA's California Farmers Market program. You may also be able to sell hemp in a licensed cannabis retail store. However, cannabis retailers are governed by the Bureau of Cannabis Control, or the BCC, and not the CDFA. So therefore, I highly suggest that you get in touch with the BCC to be sure that you meet the cannabis industry's strict regulations before adding hemp to a cannabis dispensary. There's a lot of red tape there, there's a lot of moving parts, and again, reach out to the BCC and make sure you're actually within the bounds of the laws and the guidelines before you go out and sell your stuff to a cannabis dispensary. With all things considered and all the red tape and all the potential profits and things like that, should you really start a hemp farm in the state of California? Well, by some estimates, more than 25,000 products can be made from hemp. I mean, hemp is used in everything from the automotive industry to personal care products to cosmetics and everything in between. And California is a leader in the hemp market. California companies earn 77% of nationwide sales of hemp food and personal care products. So you kind of got yourself in a great market if you're in California to start producing hemp. And I really think that hemp holds a lot of promise, even though it may not seem as glamorous or as sexy as the cannabis growing market. Best of all, hemp is a plant that thrives in California's environment. It does well in warm weather and grows best in well-drained, highly organic soil. And it goes without saying, you'll need a lot of space for hemp to actually be profitable. So, quick estimates, when I called and spoke with one of our clients, he said that you actually need at least minimum 50 acres to take advantage of the economies of scale to actually turn a profit. So, it's a pretty large space. It's why it's called a farm more than like a grow spot, all right? Now, besides space, hemp has really relatively few other needs. It's resistant to pests and disease, and it grows very fast and tall, minimizing the need for any like hand trimming or hand cultivation. So some estimates from a recent Cornell University analysis found that hemp profits range from $130 to $730 per acre. Again, there's a lot of moving parts, the amount of space, your location and all the little inputs, but it can be a very, very profitable industry. You just got to see, what relative circumstances you're in your market and your grow area. While this video gives you some quick context, a good way to get started in California's hemp industry is to actually go to a hands-on workshop by the California Hemp Association to learn about the constantly changing forms and the fees and the changing regulations and other information coming from the CDFA and the USDA. Also, starting a hemp farm probably will not be a cheap endeavor, so I highly suggest start looking at your financial and your capital situation to see what you can do to raise funds from yourself or from outside investors. Next, I highly suggest retaining a skilled lawyer and an experienced CPA. These are two major pitfalls that most people that step into the cannabis or hemp industry overlook because there's so many little, again, pitfalls that you can fall into without the guidance of a lawyer or a CPA. Now, though the industry isn't regulated as tightly as cannabis, it still has new aspects and gray areas that are continuously being interpreted by officials as they come up. And they interpret these either by relevant circumstances or by what they call case law that has set a precedent for what to do in these types of matters. And, that's where an experienced lawyer and tax partner can come in and give you guidance before the actual shoe drops and the actual interpretations from the council is actually given out for you. Now, hopefully this video has brought you some value and helped you understand from a 30,000 foot look how to start a hemp farm in the state of California. Now, if you think it may be helpful to get one-on-one consulting with your new hemp farm or your cannabis business in general, then you can get in touch with the experts at GreenGrowth CPAs by reaching out to us via our website at greengrowthcpas.com, or you can give us a call at our 800 number at 800-674-9050. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.